Yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. There are many games that are easily accessible and aimed at younglings, but the challenge is keeping them fully engaged throughout. For me, they need to have a fun and exciting theme, simple rules with little downtime between turns, and some cool player pieces and nice artwork. In the past, I've had success with the likes of Rhino Hero, Dragonwood, as well as moving on to more complex games like My Little Scythe. In this video, I'm going to review Zaberias, a 2 to 4 player competitive fantasy game of building cities and defeating other players in combat. Now, Zaberias claims to be the perfect game for your little meeples and is self-stamped as educational to promote learning through counting and reading, social interaction and strategic thinking, which can only be a good thing. But how does this differ from any other game with the same audience? In Zaberias, you take control of one of 4 tribes to include Undead, Humans, Guardians and Orcs. Each tribe comes with their own map board, and the aim of the game is to build cities that provide you with income in the form of shiny gold that you can spend to deploy units of various types. These units can move about the map attacking other players, as well as taking control of their cities in order to be the last tribe standing. Now, each player is presented with one of these cool looking crates that is specific to the tribe and includes everything you need to play the game. These detach to reveal a map board and an armory that hold your cities and tokens, and will no doubt gain the interest of young ones very quickly, as you'll get to pop the dice and tokens to see what type of units you're going to be playing with. Let's take a look. So this is everything included for the Orc tribe. The cover is removed and flipped to reveal the starting map that has various locations, roads and terrain. And the internal area is the armory that houses all the tokens. There are 6 cities of 3 types, 2 wood, 2 steel and 2 gold, as well as 9 different units and 6 gold pieces. Each tribe also has 5 little dice that are valued at 1 to 3 with some blank sides. This is what the game looks like set up for 4 players, and it looks really good on the table. The maps form the centrepiece, and there is a different configuration dependent on the number of players in the game, and each tribe starts with one of their wooden cities constructed in their area. As you can see, I've removed all tokens and dice from the armory and laid them out beside the maps. I only do this as I think it will preserve the quality of the tokens that may become worn over time due to constant use. Plus the units have names and special abilities on the reverse side, and it's just a lot easier to flip them from the table. First thing, the quality of the components. They are great. Good thick cardstock, bright colours and wonderful artwork. The Orcs have these huge teeth, the Undead with ghouls and monsters, and the Guardians almost appear pixie-like, but it's really good. So, some may feel an Undead faction might be a little distasteful for children, but the cute and fun artwork does distract from this. Perhaps a Fiend tribe would have been more appropriate. I'm quite impressed that each unit in the game is unique in that they have different names, and as we'll see later, all have varying stats for combat and movement as well as special abilities. Also, the dice for each tribe have thematic pips, with the Undead having skulls and axes for Orcs, which I thought was pretty cool. However, the tribe maps are not asymmetric. All roads, buildings and terrain are located in the same areas regardless of which tribe you use, and I do recommend removing all tokens from the armory before play. The initial idea is to keep them slotted into the armory, but you'll constantly be punching them out, flipping and replacing, although it does help to keep the tidier play area. One thing I did find odd is that for cities you have wood, metal and gold types. For a self-proclaimed educational game, there seems to be miscommunication here, as gold is a metal. I'm thinking steel should have replaced metal. The game mechanics are pretty simple. Each player takes a turn that comprises gaining income from cities they have anywhere on the map and using this to either upgrade and build more cities or deploy units. These units can move and attack other units with ranged or melee combat using dice, and the turn ends when all these actions are exhausted. The last tribe left standing is the winner. So on your turn, you have a number of options. To build cities or deploy units, you first need to acquire gold, and this is provided by your buildings already in play by flipping over your gold pieces to their shiny side. Now, as well as providing income, your cities also allow you to deploy units, but the level of unit you can place is dictated by the city type. Now, whereas a gold city allows you to deploy any unit, the wood cities only allow you to place your weaker ones, and each has a cost located on the back of the token. So if I want to deploy the teleporter, it's going to cost me 3 gold pieces, and these will be placed at the cities relevant to their grade. Cities can also be upgraded, so a wood can become a steel can become a gold city, and this will be at a cost. You can even spread out into other tribes' territories by placing units in that area to convert that city to one of your own, although erecting a building this way will likely incur combat. Any units you have on the board can move about and attack other enemies as well as cities from other tribes. The unit's movement allowance and combat stats are located on each token. Now, units can normally move in straight lines unless they're following a road where they can move diagonally and cannot cross any water-like areas. There's no way of getting around combat. It's going to happen and happen often, and initially it's pretty simple. For melee combat, both players roll the number of dice shown on their unit token. They'll then sum the value of the dice, add the unit's strength, which is termed muscle, and the player with the highest value wins. Units can also attack at range if their token shows this icon. However, even though both units still roll their dice and add their strength value, the defender can only defeat the attacker if they also have a ranged value, so use these attacks wisely. Now, for added complexity and a little strategic thinking, you can use multiple units in combat. If taking on a big brute, multiple units can work together in an ambush. Here, you combine the stats from all attackers for a very powerful attack, but if the defender wins, all enemies within range are defeated. Likewise, if one of your units is being attacked by an enemy, all your other units in range can lend support in defense, but doing this, they only add their muscle, not dice. There are also sought after locations that units can take control of in order to gain some advantages during the game. Power stars allow every single unit in your tribe to gain 1 extra muscle for each of these locations you control. If you control a mine, you gain 1 extra gold during income on top of all the cities that you control. Lastly, portals allow you to travel great distances, so that you can get deep into enemy territory with just 1 move. In most respects, the rules are very simple. Gain income, build, upgrade, move and attack. However, the online rulebook is a little hard to digest. My standard format is to have chapters for components, setup, income, actions and so on. But for Zaberias, it's essentially split into cities and unit movement, combat, then the various locations, and then back to combat. It'll need a few reads to fully grasp the concepts, but from then on, you'll have no problem. Some strategic elements of the game come with controlling locations for those sought after advantages, or deciding whether to deploy 1 or 2 heavy units or lots of weaker ones, but in order to do this you need to ensure you have the correct cities in play. From this you then get a lot of choices of where to deploy. If deep into the game and you deploy your units on your tribe map, then you'll be playing defensively, but spread out too far and you'll get picked off. Therefore, you need to ensure you utilise the ambush and defensive mechanics of combat effectively to overpower enemies, as well as using the special abilities of units. Some of these abilities are pretty cool. The Guardian Ninja can place defeated enemies under its token to gain extra dice in combat, whereas the Vampire does the same but takes their strength. The Orc Headhunter gains you coins if you defeat enemies with that unit, and other units can move over water, so you need to be aware of what each can do. Rather than just defeating units in combat or upgrading buildings, you'll want to incorporate other tactics that include blocking enemy cities and portals with units to eliminate their use, even if only for a short time. If you can get into enemy territory, you can take control of their cities, resulting in that tribe having less choice over unit deployment and income, as well as you setting further footholds on the map. Now, the game indicates it's suitable for those as young as 6 years old, but I think that's a bit of a stretch, so there's likely going to be some coaching, which is absolutely fine as long as they're enjoying the game. But I really enjoyed it. There was much more strategic elements to the game than I initially thought. It provides you with a lot of decisions to make with some really quirky abilities for the tribe's units. Yes, there's a little bit of luck due to the dice rolling, but some of this can be negated by well-placed units for supporting combat. The theme is great and the game has awesome table presence and can be set up in minutes and is really fun to play at all player counts. Some may not like the fact there is player elimination, especially if ganged up on quite early. But essentially, that's the essence of the game, and I like it. I hope to see more tribes and perhaps some 2v2 rules where you can form unlikely alliances with other tribes. That would be awesome. I think this is the perfect game to introduce to both new gamers and young meeples, and it will certainly entertain both. I'm not sure it can be presented as an entirely educational game, although obviously the game will promote learning of some format, which is always good. I'll put a link to the Zaberias website in the description, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. This is Ninja Geek Games. Cheers.